broken baker, where crimes are baked in every show. Mysteries rise and truth unfolding. Ready, set, it's time to go. We say it's time to go. Whistling truth, battering news, mixing stories, solving the lies. In this kitchen, secrets are broken with a spark in our eyes. In the broken baker's kitchen, the secrets crumble like sunrise. We'll sift through clues to find the news with a spark in our eyes. In broken rise, broken rise. Welcome to the broken baker. Get ready. Let's go.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think about the jury.
Good, very early morning, very late night, or maybe if you live in Australia or some parts of Asia, good midday to you. And yes, this is a weird hour for me, but I woke up an hour ago and started reading the 6 new lawsuits against P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, PD, Love, whatever else he's been calling himself. So I never stream at this hour, so I thought, let's do it to it. Probably a very good time to read the stuff I'm going to read because, again, this is allegations, but Diddy ain't no saint if what I am about to read is true. We are talking male and female victims and at least one very low aged male. So all the warnings, you're grown-ups, you're on the YouTubes, you are LawTuber customers, you know it gets a little bit dark sometimes. And I will be using a lot of, let's just call it YouTube words today, because I'm not sure I can say most of what these allegations are into. But who's up with me? Broken Hearted is up, and the lovely Irish. And Ernie Birdie, what's up? I'm up. And Salty Dog from Indonesia, I hope your package will arrive soon. Apparently there was the one I sent to California had a wrong address or something. I don't know. Hey Dave, you're up late. And Harmony, hello. And Olienka. Amon, Los Angeles. It's about 9 p.m. Well, that's the first time I stream at a reasonable hour for the West Coast. Dirty Diddy. You just wait. You just wait. Hey Marissa. Yeah. I'll put this up on top because this is a little better. And you're up late as well. Well, some of us are grown-ups. Demonetization fund. Thank you so much, Iris. You have covered what I probably would have been making on this stream because I see a yellow check mark in this video's future. because, again, Diddy ain't no saint. No baby oil mentioned in this batch of lawsuits. Hey, Lynn. Yeah, you sent it to me. You made me read it. You have to suffer to it. Lego My Briefs from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. No, I won't be getting me. I won't be getting me $4. Why Irish? I don't know. Because of Iris. Thank you, Iris. Now my $4 are covered. So now we just need to get that 1,000 views on this one so we can cover the. Yes, Grumpy Granny. I'm trying. I'm reaching out. No, I just got up and I read this and couldn't fall back asleep. Tell all your Aussie friends we're live. But let's get to it. Because some of y'all need to get to bed. This is Jane Doe versus and all of Sean Combs' different business entities. And again, the introductions, the mention of his parties, the mention of his history will be the same in every 6 lawsuits. So I'll only go through it in the first one. Oh. Yeah, it's a little. But it seeks both. Come on, in Biggin. Why won't you in Biggin? Compensatory and punitive damages for aggravated smeksual assault on Jane Doe. The conduct described herein is violent and shockingly typical of Sean Combs, aided and enabled by numerous individuals and entities. Sean Combs for many years believed he was above the law. And then all of his nicknames: he used, molested, raped, assaulted, threatened, and coerced women, men, and minors for sexual gratification, to assert dominance, and to conceal his abhorrent conduct. Combs accomplished these acts by and through a criminal enterprise built on his success as a rapper, record producer, and record executive. Combs is reportedly one of the wealthiest musical artists in the world, behind the facade of being a 3-time Grammy Award winner, discovering and developing multiple famous musical artists, and ranking on Forbes' list of the highest paid entertainers in the world. There exists something sinister, a dark underbelly of crime, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, bribery, and prostitution. Combs is a menace to society, women, men, and children. While his wealth has kept him above consequences for years, Combs now faces the awesome power of the American judicial system and ultimately a jury of his peer who will ask to punish him for the deplorable conduct described herein. Again, it's a little flowery, the words, but of course they'll try and make it as restream friendly as possible so people will be talking about it. Hey, Wesley, how's Harry? Then we have all of his business. And again, it's not, they just claim that all of these businesses are just to facilitate his His smeksual assault, abuse, threaten, coerce hundreds of individuals through smeksual quid pro quo schemes, as well as take advantage of individuals with impunity, thinking the victims would never have any recourse. Combs and his agents, employers, and contractors through the Combs business would tell victims, this is what it takes to be famous. What are you willing to do to become a star? And perform this smeksual act, or else to coerce, cajole, or force the victim into performing non-consensual smeksual acts for the gratification of Combs and his cohorts. Members and associates of the Combs business engaged in and or attempted to engage in, among other activities, smex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for the purpose of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotic offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The Combs business constitute an ongoing organization whose members function as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of Combs. So, yeah, that's one big name victim can bring down an entire house of cards. About time, decades of wrongdoing. These are all those. We don't know who it is. It doesn't seem like it's high profile members, but there have been certain high profile names mentioned earlier. Some of them will be mentioned in this one as well. And again, all of this history of the Combs thing is the same in every 6, so I'll only read it here with the first one, or else I'll have to sit here and read all night long. Combs' pervasive history of smeksual assault of violence. For years, Combs and his business engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women, men, and minors. This abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and smeksual. As part of his pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated both men and women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of smeksual activity with both commercial smex workers and unsuspecting partygoers. Combs ensured participation from these individuals by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them with or without their knowledge, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation, violence, and illicit drugs. That's the same as the narcotics mentioned before. Combs, while celebrated for his business acumen and influence in the entertainment world, has often been described as a more troubling light as a powerful, manipulative, and problematic. His aggressive tactics, both in business and personal dealings, has drawn criticism, with many viewing him as someone who leverages his power to intimidate and control. This darker side of Combs' persona has been underscored by the numerous lawsuits and allegations that have surfaced over the years. Despite his undeniable success, his rise to the top is marked by a reputation for being ruthless and manipulative, using his influence in ways that have left a trail of legal and personal controversies, including but not limited to the following. One person with evidence can do it. Yeah. It's hard to imagine they are all making up, right? Well, all of this are filed by the same lawyer's office. So, but this combined with the charges the state have raised, a lot of it seems to tell the same story. There's a part in this one's lawsuit we'll see later where they'll claim that the Marriott Hotel is involved in it. To me, that seems a little bit too much like a money grab, because if the Marriott Hotel knows what's going on, do they know what I do when I'm staying at a Marriott? I don't do that. I don't have money, but I don't know. It just seems a little bit like a money grab, but this is only one of them. Hey, sneaky side. We may never know all involved, and Baker won't admit it. However, I swear I had Baker said, ain't no party like a Diddy party, because A Diddy party got all the lube. You're right, Yamaha. Yeah, both the Marriott and Macy's. But we have heard crazier stories. Well, I don't know. Yeah, they claim they look the other way, but to look the other way, you must have knowledge of it. So, but let's talk about it. I am live at 12 a.m. your time. It's 6 my time, and I've been reading this for an hour because Marissa hates me, so she sends it to me and say, "Don't read it," and I read it. But he has been involved in a nightclub shooting incident in '99. He was embroiled in a high-profile case related to a nightclub shooting in New York involving his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shani. I don't know. Combs were acquitted of all charges, though the case remains a significant legal event in his career. That's a little bit, if he's acquitted, he didn't do it. Multiple assault allegations. Combs has faced several lawsuits related to alleged physical assault, many of which have been settled out of court. Business disputes involved in various business-related legal conflicts, particularly surrounding his Sean John clothing line and other ventures. Oh, I remember that Sean John. Everyone wanted that. These disputes often involved contractual disagreements and trademark claims. Claims by Cassie Ventura, Combs' former girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit accusing him of years of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse during their relationship. Cassie alleged repeated instances of assault, coerced smeksual acts, and drug use, all contributed to an environment of fear and manipulation. That's the big name case we already know about. Combs particularly fancied the use of the popular date grape drug Rohypnol and GHB to commit heinous non-consensual acts of sexual violence and rape against countless victims. Combs often would secretly use the drug in an alcoholic beverage served at his parties, typically in seemingly innocent glass of champagne or a lemon drop. Partygoers were forced to consume the alcoholic beverage containing GHB either prior to entering or while at Combs' parties. There are also allegations of Combs dousing victims in lotions or similar body oils, also laced with GBH, so that the drug would be absorbed through the victim's skin and make it easier to take advantage of, exploit, or assault him or her. How that works, I have no idea. I have lived a too vanilla life. In the past year, numerous civil complaints have been filed by plaintiffs who alleged that they have been sexually abused by Combs between 1991 and 2009. In November 2023, 3 lawsuits was filed against Combs under the New York Adult Survivors Act. Cassie Ventura, an artist signed to Bad Boy, sued Combs in New York for rape and physical abuse. She alleged Combs facilitated these acts by and through supplying Miss Ventura with copious amounts of drugs and urging her to take them, beginning in 2006. Joy Dickerson Neal also sued Combs in New York, alleging Combs drugged her, sexually assaulted her, and secretly recorded the assault in '91. Lisa Gardner, who Combs met at an event hosted by a record label affiliated with Bad Boy, sued him for raping her and a friend in '99 or '91 when she was only 16. In '23, an anonymous plaintiff sued Combs in New York for drugging and gang raping her in '03 when she was only 17. This victim alleged that employees and business associates of Combs, through their affiliation with Bad Boy Enterprise, lured her to Combs' home where Combs then raped her. In February 24, Rodney Little Rod Jones, one of Combs' former producers, sued Combs for forcing him to engage in unwanted sex acts and sex trafficking, amongst other allegations. Mr. Jones alleged that Combs regularly drugged others, including minors, by giving them drugs laced with ecstasy and other date grape drugs. Ms. Jones alleged that Combs, in fact, drugged him as well in order to commit acts of sexual assault. In May 24, former model Crystal McKinney and April Lampers sued Combs. Miss McKinney alleged that Combs drugged her and sexually assaulted her at his record studio in 2003, mimicking what has now become a known pattern. Combs promised Miss McKinney to help her with her modeling career in exchange for engaging in sexual conduct with him. Miss Lampros, an intern at Arista Records, which was an owner of Bad Boy, also sued Combs in May 2024 in New York County Supreme Court for raping her on multiple occasions, secretly filming these acts and showing the recordings to multiple people. Ms. Lampros also alleges that Combs ordered her to take drugs on one occasion before he raped her. In July 2024, former adult film star Adria English, who was employed by Combs as an entertainer at his infamous white parties, then brought together the biggest names in the music and entertainment industry, sued Combs in the Southern District of New York for sex trafficking, alleging that he required her to consume drinks laced with ecstasy and secretly recorded sexual acts. In September 2024, singer and songwriter Dawn Angelique Richard also sued Combs. Richard was employed by Combs as part of the girl group Danity Kane, formed by Combs, and later as a key member of Combs' band Diddy, Dirty Money. She sued Combs in the New York for sexual assault, false imprisonment, and for subjecting her to hostile working conditions due to her gender, including degrading comments and threats. Ms. Richards has alleged that Combs regularly supplied others, including minors, with copious amounts of drugs and alcohol, and subjected them to sexual acts while they were sedated and or unconscious due to the drugs and alcohol. He seems like a really nice guy, right? Shine. Oh, I don't speak modern music. I stopped listening when Taylor Swift became irrelevant. Celebrities are United States royalty. They get away with whatever until the internet gets a hold of it nowadays. Well, American also have this this inbuilt "we hate kings" mentality. So when you build them up, you like to tear them down, and then you like to build them up again. Just see Tiger Woods, Jordan, all of these that you build, then you crash them, and then you'll build them again. You should have a king instead. Hey, Rob Mill. Well, I thought I never have you in the streams anymore in daytime, so I'll stream at your hours. Better vanilla than devil's food. Yeah. Bad boy, when people tell you who they are, believe them. You should. Mm-hmm. You do miss Jamie's laugh. Jamie is sleeping. Jamie goes to bed at 7:30 every night. But there is a high possibility she will be on the day show today. Entertainment industry, governments, monarchies, military, church, banking is controlled by Illuminati and Masons, which includes... I don't think so. There's not that many Masons back existing anymore. Wonder what his mama thinks. She... Sadly, you see that in a lot of cases. They believe them. And of course you would. It's your kid. But we just had a case in Denmark with a guy who put a pew-pew to the head of a girl and pulled the trigger, and luckily it misfired and didn't do anything. His mom was yelling in court that why couldn't she give her son a hug, because she hadn't seen him for a long time, and this skank had it coming. So some moms are not the chancla waving Mexican moms you need. Well, the state is probably going to take all of his money, so it's get in there before his money's gone. If you videotape your crimes, then share them with others you believe you're invincible. You see this with people who have money. No matter in Denmark, we have a saying where we talk about when rags gets to riches. We call it when shit get honor. They think they can do whatever they want because all of a sudden they have money, they have power, people like them, and they forget that there should be some kind of morals with it as well. Our king is nice. It's typical you Americans. You don't want to go with the true and trusted way. Just get a king, and then you don't have to worry about who's the president because the king is always there to unite you all that you hate politicians. I'm up late writing last-minute bios for my foster kittens. Sad to see them go through more, but happy to find a late-night baker stream to keep me company while I procrastinate. Hello, sunshine. It's always hard to let go of kittens, but the good thing is they are probably going to great homes where they will enjoy them just as much as you have. I saw it in Scarface. He thought he was invincible too. Yeah, it's but again, you get the money, you get the power, you can buy some protection. But the problem is the second you rise up, the heel biters are going to come, ankle biters, sorry, it's going to come and try and get you down again. In September 2024, a federal grand jury in Manhattan indicted Combs and charged him with sex trafficking, racketeering, and the creation of a criminal enterprise in which he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. We have read all of that. The indictment explains that Combs' abuse of women and minors was enabled by the employees' resources and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Combs' long history of violence against women unequivocally established that his actions are motivated by gender, both men and women. Then it can't be motivated by gender if it's both genders. Combs has a profound contempt for women and a desire to dominate both minors and other men. His conduct shows a long-standing practice of denigrating, defeating, and attempting to humiliate men, women, and children. His practices and desires are different for men, women, and children, but his actions are unequivocally motivated by the victims, particularly gender and age. Plaintiffs' allegations herein substantially mirrors Combs' prior conduct as established through criminal indictment and other lawsuits. Through this case, plaintiff seeks a full measure of justice from a man who thought his power, money, and influence rendered him untouchable. Plaintiffs join many other victims by filing this complaint in hope their common voice makes it impossible for Combs to assault another person ever again. The conduct complaint of many of the cases to be brought involved others who facilitated, encouraged, and participated in the conduct alleged. Plaintiff Jane Doe is a female who resides in Tennessee. Defendant is Sean Combs, and then there's a lot of his businesses, and that he used his Bad Boy record label to make more businesses. And it's just business. It's nothing. It's just to tell you where they want the money to come from. And then they have defendant Marriott International Incorporated is a domestic business corporation doing business in New York that on information or belief now has its principal place of business at blah in Maryland. Marriott Management was well aware of Combs and his activities. Marriott Management and other personnel looked the other way rather than intervene. Marriott further benefited and profited from the conduct described herein. Defendant's organization does 1 to 10. Organizational dues 1 to 10 is currently unknown entities who were owned by and or employed defendant Combs and enabled the commission of the conduct complained of him. As the parties engaged in discovery, plaintiff retains the right to amend the complaint to add these entities by name. So again, they claim there are 1 to 10 more that can be added to this. And each of Combs corporations aided and abetted Combs in committing the unlawful smeksual violence against plaintiff described herein are alter egos for Combs, completely dominated by him and used for his personal interest and engaged in wrongdoing which harm plaintiff and others, and or serve or have served as vehicles for Combs to move, dispose of, and or insulate his assets, including in connection with his criminal activities, and to avoid compensating the victim of his many crimes, including plaintiffs. Another one, let's just put everything under one hat so we can sue no matter which one of Combs's businesses have to pay. To me, that's that's where it sounds kind of sometimes like a little bit of a money grab. And then they have each of the myriad entities conspired with and aided and abetted Combs in committing the unlawful smeksual violence against plaintiff described herein by serving or having served as a vehicle for Combs to commit said smeksual violence by and through the use of Marriott's premises, hotel staff, and employees, and by profiting from such activities committed by Combs. I don't like these two things. I don't know. That's, to me, that's, I know it's a civil suit, but that seems a little money grabby. Yeah, what if any gender? Yeah, I don't get the gender stuff, but I think it's because of the law in New York that because of the Me Too stuff, they made some gender thing that they could put it under, and then the statute went back or something like that. I guess so. Seems odd going after the insurance dollar. Yeah. Well, probably they would. At least the concierge or whoever you pay at the front desk to look the other way. But I'm pretty sure the Marriott Hotel in Maryland, and we're talking about all the Marriott, each of the Marriott entities conspired with. I'm not sure that Lizzie down at the office in Maryland ever called Combs and said, "Oh, you want a shipment of GHB, whatever it's called? I'll get that for you." So, but we know how it is. Hey, Corina, I am up very early. I got up at 4:30. I haven't really slept since 3. And then I started reading this. And we then jurisdiction and venue doesn't matter. Jury demand. Now, we get to the meat of it. Everyone, again, it's only 34 people here. It's all the grown-ups, but trigger warnings, content warnings, all the warnings, and one person left. That was Salty Dog. Have a good night, Salty. But if you are easily blah, 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 grown-up people, you choose for yourself. Yeah, I know that that's why, but maybe it's because we don't have those type of lawsuits in Denmark. It just seems a little cash grabby to me. Marissa, you are the grownest of the uppest. You are the one who banned Laughing Lady on the channel because old people don't like fun. But let's get to the factual allegations. Again, the initial part, we have been through that. I'm not going to read it on the next 5 charges. Combs and his staff regularly invited members of the public to events such as music video shoots, photo shoots, autograph signings in or around New York City. One such event took place in 2004 across the street from Jane Doe's college campus in Brooklyn, New York. Through Ms. Doe's friends, and Combs' accomplices and agents, Miss Doe received an invitation to Combs' photo shoot. She was 19 years old at the time. She was flattered and excited to receive such an invitation from an individual of Combs' celebrity and status. Ladies, think you a little bit about just because he has money and a nice car, probably doesn't mean he's a nice guy. Miss Doe accompanied her friend to the event and discovered that it was a photo shoot promoting their band, a recording group Combs had signed to his record label, Bad Boy Entertainment. At the photo shoot, she and one of her good friends, among another freshman living in the dormitory with Miss Doe, were eventually invited to an after party by Combs' business associates. Before leaving for the party, Miss Doe had met Combs at the photo shoot. Combs told Miss Doe and her friend that they should come to his hotel first for a more exclusive party. That's always when you say, no, thank you. Miss Doe and her friend agreed and were taken to a Manhattan area Marriott hotel by a member of Combs' entourage. Upon arriving at the hotel suite, Miss Doe noticed that there were a dozen people that were having drinks and listening to music in a relaxed party environment. While attempting to mingle around the party, Miss Doe and her friend were suddenly grabbed and taken to a separate room off from the main party. Miss Doe believed the man taking them to be a security guard, so she went with him, but when she asked him where they were going, he simply told her, "You know what you're here for." After taking Miss Doe and her friend to the bedroom, the security guard left the room and locked the door. The only person in the room beside Miss Doe and her friend was Combs. Combs gave Miss Doe and her friend more drinks, then instructed them to imbibe cocaine that he had prepared for use on the coffee table. Miss Doe didn't want to do cocaine. Combs continued getting gradually more aggressive with the two women and eventually began forcibly touching them without consent, it must be. When they resisted, Combs ordered Miss Doe's friend to perform oral smacks on him, or else he would have them both unalived. Miss Doe's friend complied as Miss Doe begged Combs to allow them to leave. He did not agree. Combs soon turned his side on Miss Doe and forced her to take her clothes off, again under the threat of violence. Once she was undressed, Combs forced himself on her and began to smeksually assault her. Combs fondled, molested, and ultimately raped Miss Doe, all while she was begging him to stop. Soon, and likely due to Miss Doe's cries, the door opened and the security guard from earlier came in to ask if everything was all right. Miss Doe's friend took the opportunity to rush out of the recently locked door. Miss Doe, however, could not move as Miss Combs was still on top of her. Combs got off Miss Doe to talk to the security guard. He left the room but told Miss Doe to stay, otherwise she would be red-rummed. After about half an hour of sitting in the dark room by herself, another security guard came and told her that she could leave. Miss Doe gathered her things and left immediately and called a taxi back to a dormitory in downtown Brooklyn. First course of action: violation of New York City Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act, all defendants. That's why they have to call it gendered. Plaintiff hereby incorporates each of the foregoing paragraph as if fully set forth herein. By forcing sexual contact onto plaintiff, specifically by physically assaulting and forcibly raping plaintiff, defendant Combs committed a crime of violence motivated by gender, and I can't see how it's motivated by gender. Under the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act, as defined in the New York City Administrative Code 10-1103. The requirement that the crime of violence be committed because of gender or on the basis of gender or due in least part to an animus based on the victim's gender is satisfied because Defendant Combs forced plaintiff to engage in a smeksual interaction without consent. I can't see what that has to do with an animus against a gender. I'm not trying to. I can see rape charges, but what does it have to do with a gendered attack? He's not saying there, standing there doing stuff, yelling, "I hate women." I don't get the gendered part. The Combs business enabled Combs to commit the crime of violence motivated by gender because Combs sexually assaulted plaintiff at a hotel doing business with the Combs business. On information and belief, Combs business routinely committed sexual assault and gender-motivated violence as detailed in other civil lawsuits to further the business purpose of Combs' enterprise. Given Combs' long-standing pattern and practice of committing sexual violence against women, the Combs business have and or should have had knowledge of Combs using such venues for this unlawful conduct and did nothing to stop it. The Combs business enabled him to commit the attack, and it's just over and over and over the same again, that because they want the money from the corporations. And then number 47, the Marriott defendants further enabled Combs to commit the crime of violence motivated by gender by turning a willfully blind eye to his obvious conduct, including sexual violence against others, facilitating a venue and premise, including but not limited to a hotel room, to Combs and his associates in order to permit him to commit such an act of sexual violence. And I don't know how. Again, we don't have these type of lawsuits in Denmark, but I think this is a stretch. Do you know what goes on in every hotel room in the Marriott Corporation? You can have rumors. Yes, you can have one paid concierge who works for the company, and therefore the company kind of has a responsibility. But as a Dane, where we don't have these types of lawsuits, it seems crazy that you can sue them for this. There can be no doubt that Combs and his conduct was well known. He routinely had large parties at hotel venues. Numerous people, most of which were not guests at the hotel, would come and go. Many would leave intoxicated and disorientated. Large volumes of alcohol and drugs was consumed. Marriott profited from this conduct rather than intervene and stop it. Again, I have a hard time seeing that. And again, this is all legal mumbo jumbo. Therefore, plaintiffs respectfully request that judgment be entered against defendant as follows: awarding compensatory damage for all physical injuries, emotional distress, psychologically harm, anxiety, humiliation, physical and emotional pain and suffering, family and social disruption, and other harm in an amount to be determined at trial. Awarding punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, awarding attorney's fees and costs pursuant to any applicable statute or law, awarding pre- and post-judgment interest on all such damages, fees, and or costs. Attached any and all of defendant's real property and other assets located in the state of New York pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 64, and awarding such other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. Dated October 15. So that's the first victim. Yeah, my kids is never leaving the house after reading this. Mine neither. Andrea Clark, I'm just happy Baker's on. I'm wide awake and it's midnight over here. Well, it's morning here and I got up too early. I'm not wide awake. I should get back in bed. But I have a massage today. He likes men and women. Well, funny you say that, because plaintiff Jane Doe is the next one. So we're getting a male victim this one. So again, the gendered thing I don't see. Merritt's going to settle quick to just get this off the back, probably. And that's why they put them in there so they know it's going to be a payday. So the gender part is just legal mumbo jumbo in the law in New York City that allows for these types of lawsuit. Yeah, that's how I see it. And it's because, as you can see, he raped a woman because he hated his gender, and they're gonna allege that he raped a man because he hates his gender as well. So don't think about it. But we did all the blah blah blah. It's the same thing they just copied into this one. And then we get to the allegations. Parties. We have all of that. Boom, 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 boom. Jurisdiction venue. Factual allegations. Plaintiff worked for Royal Reigns Management, a prestigious company based out of New York City with additional offices in LA and Atlanta. Through plaintiff's industry connection, he gained access to parties associated with Combs and Bad Boy Entertainment. Can you make this bigger? Why can't you make this bigger? Thank you. Bigger, bigger. One party took place on or around October 2021. These connections and invitations ultimately led to a life-altering and traumatic experience for plaintiff. Combs' business picked plaintiff up from the airport and transported him to New York City, where the party was to take place. Upon arrival, plaintiff noticed several well-known artists in attendance. Plaintiff was immediately offered what he was told was ecstasy by associates of Combs' business, which plaintiff refused. Plaintiff limited himself to just one drink. Even though plaintiff only consumed one alcoholic drink, the effects of the drink were immediate and overwhelming. This behavior towards plaintiff mimics a pattern of Combs and his agents' employees drugging unsuspecting victims in order to make it easier for Combs to smeksually assault that person. Unfortunately, plaintiff was one such victim. A photograph of an exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents' employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below. Yeah, I don't know. This could be anything. Plaintiff soon became disoriented and the room started spinning. In a state of confusion, he attempted to remove himself from the situation, seeking a safe space. As plaintiff tried to leave, a male voice told him to hold on, and he promised to help him. The next thing plaintiff remembers is being in a bedroom. Despite being vaguely aware of his surroundings, he could not move, speak, or fight back. Plaintiff was paralyzed, feeling as if he was trapped in his own body. Multiple men began to smeksually assault him through sodomy and other forced acts. Yeah, it's just a normal stream today, Dave. Thank you, Johnny Dice. Well, I regret covering it sometimes. He distinctly recalls seeing Combs above him, naked. At one point during this assault, during this time, plaintiff was sodomized by at least 3 men. Plaintiff could feel a difference in the size of the men when he was being sodomized, further confirming the presence of multiple attackers. Plaintiff continued to attend therapy sessions to address the trauma from these experiences. And then we have the first course of action. It's the same for all the defendants. Again, this is a gendered attack, even though this is a different gender, which I don't get, but I'm not a lawyer. Next one, plaintiff Jane Doe by and through his attorneys, Busby. And let's go down and get to the allegations. Now it's the party. Factual allegations. In 2008, plaintiff worked as an advisor for Echo Clothing and had been an employee by the company for approximately 7 years. Echo Clothing at the time was among the most popular clothing lines in the country. In 2008, Combs' Sean John clothing line was also hitting peak popularity. Plaintiff had in fact met Combs several times in connection with Combs' development and marketing of the Sean John clothing line. Echo and Sean John were competing lines with the clothing industry, both having had a large amount of success within the hip hop community. Moreover, both lines had relationship with and were carried at the time by Macy's. Oh, in this one, Macy's is also being sued. A well-known department store. In or around May 2008, plaintiff was in the stockroom at Macy's flagship store at Herald Square in Manhattan when Combs and 3 of his bodyguards entered the stockroom. Plaintiff came upon Combs and his bodyguards at a T-junction in the stockroom, where plaintiff had a very little room to maneuver. Combs was flanked by 2 large bodyguards to the left and 1 large bodyguard to the right. Immediately after turning a corner in the stockroom, plaintiff was hit hard around the base of the neck, possibly with a pew-pew. The blow forced plaintiff to his hands and knees. And you can probably guess where we're going from this one. As plaintiff looked up, he saw that each of the bodyguards has pew-pews in their waistbands. Plaintiff heard multiple voices call out things like, "I'll unalive you." Combs approached plaintiff while plaintiff was still on his hands and knees and said, "Smock my egg, Echo," referring to the clothing line that plaintiff worked for. Combs thereafter forced his peni into plaintiff's mouth and proceeded to forcefully and brutally orally grape plaintiff. Combs continued for at least 2 minutes, bragging, until ejaculating. While orally graping plaintiff, Combs grabbed plaintiff's hair and made derogatory comments like, "You like that, white boy?" After he finished, Combs threw plaintiff's head aside and said words to the effect of, "Shut up or I'll unalive you." Combs and his bodyguards began to leave, taunting plaintiff as they did. Combs proceeded to gather Sean John merchandise from the stockroom. He left the stockroom and headed out to the Macy's retail floor, where he began passing out merchandise to an adoring crowd as if nothing had happened. In shock and traumatized, plaintiff gathered himself and went to Macy's security to report the assault. By this point, Combs and his bodyguards had left the store. Plaintiff was told that someone would speak with him, but no one ever did. Shortly thereafter, Macy's stopped letting plaintiff into their flagship Herald Square store. Approximately 3 weeks later, Terry Lundgren, CEO of Macy's, pressured Echo executives to fire plaintiff because Macy had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sean John Clothing. Echo thereafter terminated plaintiff from employment, and plaintiff was told he could no longer live in his company-paid apartment. Plaintiff is informed and believes that the report of the assault was destroyed or otherwise purged from Macy's records, and no action was ever taken as a result of the report. Plaintiff ultimately had to move out of New York. Good for you. Plaintiff still fears for his life as a result of the incident and the threats made against him on that day, including the fact that plaintiff was known to Combs by way of his work with rival clothing company Echo. And again, the first course of action as the same one. So, yeah. This one could probably be a bit of a problem for Macy's. No choo-choo, just a little mouth hugging. Why is gender a thing? I don't get. It's New York. They made a law, and now they use them as a, I think, like kind of a stepping stone to get lawsuits in. Hey, Josie, been a second. If Baker did this to me, I don't think me being another man should matter. No. And again, if he does it to men and women, what is his hatred against gender? You could say it's a racist attack because he said white boy. That would probably be more, even though it's still a stupid argument. It'll be better to use in this one. Double ouch. Terrible close. Macy's so basic. No, it's Swedish. No one likes H&M. Hennes og Maurits. So cringy. Yeah. I wondered if there's a sodomy law at play here. Many states still have them on the books. Yeah, that could be interesting because that's been illegal for a long time, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Yeah, can't be gendered if he's after both things. Did he really think this was not coming out? Yes. Everyone who gets to a certain level of fame where everyone just goes around you constantly and say yes will believe that their feces don't stink. There's I don't know if you know the impressionist Frank Caliendo. He talks about meeting Trump way back before he became president, and he was asking him something, and he answered, and he said, "It's so nice that not everyone is just saying yes because I'm me." And I think that's a big problem when you get to that level, that no one tells you, "Nah, probably a bad idea." Everyone's just sitting there thinking, "How can I get my share of the wealth?" Yeah, it's a heck of a wrongful termination lawsuit as well. Yeah. Is it late for Baker or early? It's 6:45 in the morning, so it's early. But I just wanted this out of here so I can walk Molly, go to the gym, get my massage, and get my nap before we are going to do motion hearings in the Sarah Boone case this afternoon. I believe it's set for 9:30. File number 4. It's another John Doe. Maybe the hatred for women is he's doing this to more men than women. Let's get down to the allegations. I wish I could just punch in a number and go down there. Factual allegations. Sean Combs' infamous white parties were legendary events known for their exclusivity, extravagance, and strict dress code, where attendees were required to wear all white. These high-profile parties, particularly those held at Combs' estate in the Hamptons, attracted A-list celebrities from across the entertainment, fashion, and business world. The events were lavishly decorated, featured live music performances, and boasted top-tier food and beverages. The atmosphere at these parties was one of opulence and luxury, often making headlines for the celebrity guest list, over-the-top entertainment, and the stunning aesthetic of the event. Many unsuspecting individuals were recruited to attend these parties. Some of this recruitment took place in Manhattan. Many individuals who also were also recruited in Los Angeles and were paid to fly in and to attend these functions. In 2006, plaintiff was employed by a security firm, Mass Security, where he provided security services for nightclubs and private events. In August of that year, plaintiff accepted a last-minute job at Combs' East Hamptons property. which he believed was hosting an exclusive white party for a large affluent crowd. Plaintiff noted that the guests arrived in luxury vehicles and many appeared to be executives. Upon plaintiff's arrival, he was greeted by Combs, the event's host, who expressed interest in meeting all staff members. During their interaction, Combs offered plaintiff another job opportunity, working security, which plaintiff ultimately declined due to his father's severe illness and the challenge of relocating. Combs appeared sympathetic to plaintiff's situation and understanding of his decision. As the event progressed, Combs targeted plaintiff and provided him with 2 alcoholic drinks throughout the night. After consuming the second drink, plaintiff began to feel extremely ill and leaned against his truck for support. Based on information and belief, Combs by himself or through his agents previously laced the drinks with drugs, including but not limited to GHB and or ecstasy. This behavior towards plaintiff mimics a pattern of Combs and his agents, drugging unsuspecting victims in order to make it easier for Combs to smeksually assault that person. Unfortunately, plaintiff was one such victim. A photograph of an exemplary container, we've seen that before. Combs approached him again, inquiring about his well-being and displaying what plaintiff initially interpreted as concern. However, he soon found himself being forcibly pushed into an open van by Combs, an act that left him in considerable pain. Once inside the van, plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs in his system. In a horrific turn of events, Combs smeksually assaulted plaintiff by inserting his penile into plaintiff's anus and sodomizing him, all the while dismissing plaintiff's plea for help by repeating, saying, "You'll be all right." After the assault, Combs left plaintiff in the van and proceeded back to the party. Plaintiff struggled to leave the party due to the drugs he believed to be in his system from the alcoholic drinks Combs provided. This part is not for the kids. As plaintiff was leaving the party, he experienced a disturbing sensation as a lubricant-like fluid leaked from him, which he believed to be semen, causing him profound disgust. When plaintiff finally managed to leave the scene and return home, he informed his supervisor of the incident. Upon arriving home and showering, plaintiff noticed more semen discharge, which intensified his feeling of violation and revulsion. In the aftermath of the assault, plaintiff struggled with intense emotional pain and mental health issues, feeling disgusted and deeply depressed. Plaintiff have experienced a significant impact on his personal life. He has never married and often struggles to maintain relationship due to the assault. Plaintiff described himself as an all-American guy, yet acknowledged that not a day goes by without thoughts of a traumatic incident. Yeah. I saw something. Anyone else kind of want to try GHB? No, I'm fine. It sounds fun. Remember, remind me when you come back to Denmark that I won't take any open containers from you. I'm sure he's not saying who's your daddy. I'm pretty sure Diddy could have found tons of people who would have consensual smexy times, but it wouldn't have been the display of power. I think there's a big component of this that has to do with I have the power. I can do this. No one can touch me. I think that's working better than the little blue pill on him, that he can do this to other people and they can't do anything to him. I think that's a very big part of it. I hate when that happens. Yeah. Is it like buckets? Well, allegedly, Garth Brooks comes in gallons. It's the power element he like. What a horrible human. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Iris. Gallons, even. Yeah. I don't think Baker can pull up any of our chats. I can. I'm just reading, so I can do whatever I want. Yeah, usually it's not about the smacks, it's about the control. Yes. Because normally if you see one of those grapes where it's not about the control, it's one of those where he didn't get, she didn't want it, or something like that, which can happen if both are drunk. And it's you don't see the same pattern as you see here where they goes ham. They just don't understand the word no. Hallo Helene T. Guten Morgen. I'm sorry to wake you with all of this. I don't know if a man secreting semen from his anus is the best thing for your morning coffee. But thank you for joining us. Hey, TC Sirak. Welcome. Well, this has nothing, there's no mention of baby oil in any of these other than the GHB induced lubricants. Lefty, of course you could join us. You know all about this. The next one. Back to the women's. Let's see what she alleges. Sorry. That hit the wrong spot in the neck. Scrolling. Factual allegations. In or around June 1995, plaintiff attended a promotional party at Elks Plaza in New York City for a music video, One More Chance by Biggie Smalls. I like Biggie. The event was packed with high-profile guests. While plaintiff was dancing with friends, Combs approached her and asked to speak with her privately. As expecting an innocent conversation, plaintiff agreed and followed him. Once alone in a bathroom, Combs unexpectedly began kissing plaintiff. Feeling uncomfortable and confused, plaintiff asked him to slow down, believing they were there to talk. Talking is over at this point. Instead, Combs advanced aggressively. When plaintiff attempted to pull away, he violently struck her, slamming her head against the wall and causing her to fall to the floor. Disoriented and in pain, plaintiff tried to escape, but Combs hit her again, making it nearly impossible for her to move. Combs then lifted her dress and raped her vaginally, while she lay helpless on the floor. Plaintiff tried to resist, but her injuries and shock left her powerless. After the assault, Combs adjusted his clothing in a nonchalant manner and threatened plaintiff, saying, "You better not tell anyone about this, or you will disappear," leaving plaintiff terrified for her life. Combs left the bathroom, abandoning plaintiff in a state of shock, fear, and shame. Plaintiff remained on the bathroom floor for a while, trying to regain her composure. Plaintiff felt intense pain in her head from the blows and was emotionally shattered. After some time, she managed to stand, fix her underwear and dress, and wipe away her tears. Terrified that someone from Combs' business might be waiting outside to harm her, plaintiff cautiously gathered the courage to leave the bathroom. Plaintiff left the party and never returned. Since the assault, plaintiff have avoided the news as it triggers traumatic memories. For years, plaintiff kept the assault secret, fearing retaliation from Combs and Combs' businesses. This is more akin to what we normally see as a grape. Someone getting the crap beat out of them and then a grape. Usher was left to him from his mom too. He claims to be abused. Yeah, there's a lot of especially young men has gone through intense mentorships by Diddy. What if anything happens? What if anything will they say? We saw it in Hollywood. Not a lot of people wanted to talk when Weinstein went down. Only the has-beens and the never was really wanted to talk. People who still have a career, will they talk? Because the music business is no different than the movie business. You go along to get along. Isn't that the saying? I'm a bit concerned that this case is having psychosomatic physical effects on the broken bacon. No, I'm fine. It's called escalation. When I started reading this, I lived a vanilla life. Probably, Lefty, probably. Well, the next one, no name has been mentioned, but Lefty might have been this one. Another male. So again, his gender hatred against women has led to 4 men and 2 women raising allegations against him. So he hated the men, but he didn't hate them enough. The women, but he didn't hate them enough, so he really liked to grape men instead. This one is a good one. Let's end on a high note. Mr. Combs' legendary white parties in the Hamptons were well known for many, including John Doe. The kind where countless celebrities would attend. In 1998, when John Doe was only 16 years old, he was recruited out of New York City and indicted with residing in New York City, received an invitation to one of Combs' parties through a mutual connection. When he received the invitation, he felt like he finally had the opportunity to rub shoulders with the who's who of the industry. He thought it could be his chance to break into the music industry. Others from New York City received such invitations to go to Hamptons for the party. Indeed, many of those at the party were in fact New Yorkers. The party took place at Combs' mansion in the Hamptons. As John Doe entered, he spotted countless celebrities and A-listers who formed the music and entertainment industry. He recognized faces he had seen on TV and on the big screen. As John Doe made his way through the crowd towards the restroom, he unexpectedly bumped into Combs. Shocked, John Doe found himself face to face with Combs, a titan of the music industry, standing right in front of him on at his own party. Doe took a picture with Combs at the 1998 party. And I know they are saying this is the A-listers of the A-list, and everyone who's anything were at the white parties. These 2 ladies, one of them looking like she is going to play at Wimbledon. The other one looked like me back in my gang days if she just had a yellow hat on. You have a van in the background. You have another shitty car over here. You have 2 kids playing a basketball game. I've been to better parties than this. I'm just saying. Rub more than the shoulders. Well, in this case, yes, more than the shoulders. In 98, I was a junior in high school. Well, I was fresh iron in the Navy. Kanye will be next. I don't know. Something's happening. Gang. But It doesn't look that exclusive to me, I'm sorry to say. Combs took an interest in John Doe and wanted to talk to him. They walked to a more private area near the portable restrooms. That's always the most private areas, next to the potties. Brought in for the party. There, John Doe told Combs he was a big fan of Combs and shared his dreams of becoming a star. Combs smiled, telling him he had potential and the look. When John Doe admitted his voice wasn't great, don't matter. Have you heard Britney Spears? Combs assured him that did not matter. Combs made clear that the only thing that matters was having the right look for the industry, and with it, Combs could transform Doe or anybody into a star. Despite the pleasant conversation which occurred, things took an unexpected turn for the worse. Combs abruptly told John Doe that he needed to drop his pants. This is what Lefty remembers from his high school days. John Doe, caught completely off guard, confusingly asked Combs to repeat himself. Combs made himself clear. He instructed John Doe to drop his pants and expose his peni so that Combs could inspect it, explaining it was a rite of passage and a route to becoming a star. Many a young girl have heard that before you. And also as a way to prove himself. Don't you want to break into the business? Doe immediately felt uncomfortable, froze, and did not know what to do. Combs remained calm and stood in front of him and stretched out his hand in a cupped position. Out of fear, anxiety, and the imbalanced power dynamics between him and Combs, John Doe then dropped his pants and exposed his peni as Combs previously instructed. Combs moved closer and grabbed John Doe's peni and genitalia with his hand. He firmly cupped and held onto John Doe's genitalia for an extended period of time. During this time, Combs moved his hand in such a fashion to manipulate John Doe's genitalia, squeezing and feeling them. Doe was only 16. Combs abruptly let go of John Doe's genitalia and told him that his people would be in touch. Combs continued with his party as if nothing had happened, but for John Doe, everything had changed. John Doe eventually recognized Combs sexually assaulted him by and through his power and influence over John Doe because he knew John Doe wanted to become a star. As a result of Combs' sexual assault onto John Doe while he was a minor, John Doe experienced damages including pain and suffering, mental anguish, physical impairment, and emotional torment. The interaction continues to humiliate and cause shame to John Doe. Because of Combs' power and notoriety, plaintiff was afraid to report what had happened. John Doe became yet another sexual assault victim of Combs through the same pattern and abuse of influence Combs exercised over others previously. So, wrong button. These are the 6 new lawsuits against Combs. 4 men, 2 women, who all claim some form of unwanted touching or even penetration. Most of it under the influence of drugs they didn't voluntarily take. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Sadly, it's in federal court, so we won't be able to stream his lawsuit, and these will probably not be out there. But it was a good read to get up at 6 in the morning, reading about a guy being able to tell at least 3 different people raped him because he could feel the difference in size. Talking about a difference in size. Who cares if he's a minor in which country? He's a minor in New York. So it's the law of the land. I don't know how the rules are because in Denmark you can have consensual relations with a person above the age of 15. But again, probably not like this. Thank you, Brandon. Have you all seen the creepy video with his mom where they get Ivy and talk about going to a strip club? No. Need to come to America and sit in on the trial. No, because that would mean I would have to be in New York, and I don't want to go to New York. Just look at Justin Bieber. He aged in the last month. Something definitely happened. I haven't really seen anything with Justin Bieber since he got married. Haven't he been very quiet the last couple of years? There was a lot of stuff talked about, and then he kind of disappeared. Then he all of a sudden got married. We've seen that in Hollywood before. I'm sure there will be more. Yeah, well, now the cat's out the bag, and people can see with all of these lawsuits and the federal lawsuits, the estates could pretty soon run dry from money, so better get in there if you want your pound of flesh. Can I retain you in case anything I say borders on defamation? That could be an end around. Defamation against me? Or anyone? We'll have to fundraise the monies to get the transcript of the Fed trial if we are allowed to get the transcript for the Fed case. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in that case. Don't come to New York. Do not come. Brandon, I will not. I've been to New York once in my life. I didn't like it. We have to meet up some other place when we go golfing. Oh, you're retaining Dave. Probably should. Yesterday, they woke all the homeless people up before the games, and it looked like a zombie movie. Oh, yeah. How's the Mets doing? Apparently, the Mets are doing pretty well. Got the Phillies out. I like the Mets. Well, I don't know baseball, but I used to. I'm a Mets fan because my brother was a Mets fan when he was in Los Estados Unidos in 1985 or something like that. But this was what I was going to bring at this late, early, midday hour all around the world. Just to see if anyone would show up when I have these early mornings. Maybe I could stream sometimes. Even though it's not every day we have 3 different men, I could tell by their size. You have a well-astute sphincter, if you can tell that. I think I would just be crying at that point. Pixie, you showed up just in the end. But everyone, those of you who are about to go to bed, have a great night. Those of you who are in Europe, enjoy your day. Those of you in Australia, it's almost 5 o'clock. You can have a beer. And the rest of you, we'll see each other at around, I'll have to figure out when Sarah Boone starts today. I think it's 9:30. Sarah Boone, we will have motion hearings in the morning and maybe voir dire for the state in the afternoon. Tomorrow, which for you Yanks will be tomorrow, we will have defense voir dires in the morning and opening statements in the afternoon. So Thursday afternoon is supposedly when we're getting opening statements in the Sarah Boone case. Tell your job that you have more important things to do. Du auch. Auch du. Hey, Wallstrom. A beer, yeah, maybe a wine. It's been one of those days. Stay away from the Chardonnay from the Publix. That gets people into trouble. Hey, Ashley Forever. It's tomorrow most everywhere. Well, I talked to the expert, and for the expert, the next day doesn't start until he have slept. So, but he's kind of a cuckoo. Yes, and call Jamie's boss and say the same. You don't drink. Well, you shouldn't drink. It's not good for you. People end up in suitcases when they drink. The rest of you, do whatever you will. Just be back here later today when we start covering the Sarah Boone case again. Hasta la taco, as the young people say.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing.